I'm going to lay out a couple of ground rules here at the top of this recap. Uh, I don't know what the word disseminate means, and I don't need to know what the word disseminate means. So, just know that. Education is bad. We're Fedra. We don't like to be educated. Anyway, uh, welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I'm here with The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 4. We're going to get into it. But first, I want you to know, I would die for you. So click like and subscribe. Uh, and series does have audio description. It's I watch it on Max. So if you haven't caught on yet, if you're behind and you're like, what? I can watch. Yeah, you can watch this show. It's narrated by Roy Samuelson. And this is like the first show to ever have a credited quality check. Serena Gilbert, which is crazy. But yeah, so we are making inroads in audio description. So what do we got in this episode? First of all, to address a couple things, if you watched my last recap, we found the mattress. Thanks to, I don't know what the fuck your name was, but in the comments, we found the mattress. It was in the garage. Thank you. I had forgotten that plot point, and I kind of jokingly was like, but what about the box springs? LOL. And I realized, like, now they make mattresses and, like, people, I think, like, box springs are, like, does everybody have them anymore? I think there are people who don't even know what that is. Do they have them? Do they not have them? You know? So, anyway, I was, in my last recap, I pointed out the fact that I went way down, my brain got locked on me. Why does her bed in her bedroom not have a mattress? And I forgot that we tackled that in episode 1 when she was, like, I guess living in the garage. She had her mattress. Although I don't think there was a big scene about her grabbing the mattress and dragging it in the garage. It just was there. So you're right. Yeah, I should connect the dots better together, and I apologize. I also love some of the other things that I've been seeing in comments. The thing I love. I saw therapists that commented on Catherine O'Hara, and they're like, "This is not how things work. Therapists are not supposed to have a personal relationship with their their patients." I'm like, we're probably not supposed to do a lot of things, but I think what we're skipping over the fact that she probably is the only person with that degree, with that skill set in all of Jackson. So it doesn't really matter. There's no, like, board of certified psychotherapists that's gonna come in and take her license away. I don't think that's what that is. I think if she had just been like a student, she probably would be the therapist. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just so happens that she's the only one that was what she did before. So the rules need not apply when you're the only one. The rules are whatever the rules are. So for you, I think, anyway. So in this episode, we pick up where we left off. This episode is called Day One. And we see sort of flashback with some Fedra agents, and they're joking about this time this one dude smashed a guy's head in because he tried to correct him on the meaning of the word dissemination because he thought it meant like ejaculation, something having to do with masturbation. They all thought it was funny. They have some, like, new recruit there who just doesn't get it and is not quite with the rest of the Fedra agents. And there's also, in the back, there's a guy named Isaac. He's played by Jeffrey Wright. And that's one of those things that, like, if you just sort of know and recognize faces well enough, where you would just, like, pan to the back and you're like, oh, that guy's going to be in for a while. That dude. This is not just a cameo, one scene cameo. We're being introduced to Jeffrey Wright as Isaac. This is his origin. So basically it is. They make a stop, and Isaac's in charge, and he goes out and meets this lady, and he takes the recruit with him. He's like, you might learn something. And then they go out to meet this lady, and they have conversation, and then Isaac goes back and he throws a grenade and he blows up the rest of the people that he came with. Drops them into the car, blows them up. The driver tries to get out and kills the driver. Like that's Isaac. Isaac's like, yeah, I'm Fedra's stupid. We're gonna go do this other thing now. And then we cut to where our Ellie and Dina are, which is, investigating along with Shimmer, Seattle. And I have not played the video game, so I know that there are a lot of beats that are in the video game, and this obviously plays out nicely for them. But we do see Dina she's in sort of like a pharmacy, scavenging, and she finds some stuff, and it's already been looted, so all the stuff that's hilariously left behind are like feminine hygiene products. And one of them that she finds, we're not told what it is initially because it would reveal, I'm sure we weren't shown it either, but later on you'll find out that she took a pregnancy test, and that was what was in there. Basically it's not really an eventful moment. It leads to something that's an eventful revelation, but that scene is not really important. And I don't know, they go back out, and they keep scavenging and going through with Shimmer, and eventually they get to this place where they walk into the wrong room. I'm just gonna say they just walk into the wrong room. I'm kind of like baffled by the timing of everything. So we saw the Seraphites in the last episode, and I guess they're going to continue to be a thing. And they're at war with the WLF, presumably Isaac's group, because we also see Isaac in this episode, and he has a Seraphite that's like chained up, and he's torturing him for information. And the Seraphites seem like they're cuckoo bananas. But there's this room that is a house of horrors that they walk into like the wrong time, because this is one of the things I didn't like about the episode is the timing of everything. And I know it's like we do this a lot in TV shows, in movies, where like our characters happen to be at the right place for the right thing at the exact right time all the time. And I guess it was fresh. So right in after them, they're there for like a minute, basically. And so I guess this happened fairly recently, and we don't, it could have, it's the kind of thing that this could have been left there years ago. You know what I'm saying? They're coming into this like gore thing that's been there for like years. Obviously, Dina throws up again. I would have thrown up. She uses this as like a barometer. She uses like death as a barometer. And I'm like, okay, maybe the first one with a lot of dead bodies, one thing, because they were all kind of killed and not just, I'd have vomited. I would have been haunted for days seeing people hanging by their entrails and cut open, and just everything that was in this room is, I'm sure the team that works on the special effects, makeup artists and everything were like, oh, thank God we get to do some great work in the scene. I'm sure it was all practical, and it just was a dream for them to have to put this together. So, but like within a hot second, WLF is like in the room, and they're like, oh my God, what happened? They have to be nearby. Why do they have to be nearby? Like, we don't have any indication of when this happened, how long ago this was. So I guess literally like Dina and Ellie just missed these guys. They're just like right behind the torturous Seraphites that are ripping people open, and they didn't know it. And I think that's the kind of timing thing where I go, I don't know if I buy that. Because not only do they have to be right behind them, but then they also had to be this squad of warriors that burst into the room uh, are also indicate that they, you know, that all of this just happened. So timing is a little bit, it's a little bit. So Dina and Ellie are creeping out. Eventually, they're going to creep into like a subway area, which is fucking fantastic. That was a great scene. That was a kick-ass scene. And the WF goes down there and they're like, I thought this area was supposed to be cleared out. Nope. It's very much not cleared out. Not in the least. It's not even just like slightly not cleared out. It's like somebody who went down there lied. Whoever it was that came back was like, yep, subway's clear. They're fired. They're fired from their job of notifying who what has been cleared out. So yeah, there's a shit ton of zombies that come out of nowhere and swarm the WF, who are all well armed, and they start attacking them. And Dina and Ellie take the opportunity to sneak away, and they hide in a subway car. But eventually, the zombies come to them too, and start beating the shit out of the subway car. So they have to get out of the subway car and they have to climb up, and they're fighting their way through. And what ends up happening is, in all of this, Ellie gets bit, and Dina doesn't know. So Dina is looking at this, wondering, and thinking that Ellie's going to turn at any moment. And she's thinking she's going to have to put Ellie down. And so once we get away from that awesome subway scene, which is fantastic, just a plus. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was really well shot, described, the sound design, everything in that moment just made the episode. If you're all about like action and set pieces and everything, and you're like, I don't like the drama, she's a lesbian and I can't watch the show, I'm like, you're missing out. First of all, if you like gore, you definitely missed out on that room. And if you like action, that scene was dope. For sure. The attack on the subway train. So I guess enjoy being lonely as a human. So Dina and Ellie finally get to like a room that's quiet, and Ellie has to explain, and Dina literally has a gun trained on her like all night long. The description that I got afterwards was like bag under her eyes, and there's like a shadow that's over her face at first, and you can't see her face, and she just looks exhausted when Ellie wakes up. But Ellie wakes up and there's no tremor, there's nothing, and she's like, I've been bit before. I'm okay, you know. I'm immune. So now Dina knows that Ellie's immune to the bites, to zombies. And that's when Dina says, I'm pregnant. And their life changes, and they go up on a roof, and they see the rest of the city, and they're like, oh my god, because they heard Nora? Somebody said Nora's name over the radio. I think it was Nora that was mentioned over the radio. And so they know that Abby's crew is in the city somewhere. But then they go up to the top of the roof, and they're like, oh my god, Seattle's actually this big? Holy shit. And they see sort of like there's like a smoke coming, there's like a building on fire, some stuff. So it looks like a hellscape that they have to cross to try to get to. And they're like, yeah, all the way over there? That's where she is. So they have to cross, and it was already difficult enough. This one thing, at least trying to get Dina to stay because she's pregnant. She's like, well, everything changed, and Dina's like, no. And in that scene, by the way, that was the where I would die for you. Ellie tells Dina, I would die for you, which is a lot, but probably true. I mean, she was willing to die for like the concept of other people originally at the end of season 1, you know, just the idea that she might be a cure. So, yeah, death wishes, right? So, another scene I skipped over just because I was trying to get through like the main through line of this is there's a scene where they stop and they play a guitar, and I know a lot of people have been talking about because you can play it in the video game, but it's not an immediate part of the quest, so it's like a side thing that you would have had to choose to do. Is the Take on Me that she plays? She goes on, but you don't play Take on Me in the video game, so they switched the song. Um, and so we have a little bit of Ellie and Bella Ramsey singing, playing a guitar. She finds a guitar and she's singing an acoustic version of Take on Me, which is actually pretty good. I really liked it. If that's Bella Ramsey singing, she has a nice voice. They have a nice voice. Um, so, yeah, I think this is a fun episode. The timing thing bothers me, that they're like perfectly lined up to where they just missed the Seraphites, but also showed up at just the right time where the WLF had just figured out where that room was. Like it was just like, come on. I mean, they should have either had more time in the room or something, or it should have felt like the WLF was just looking for something and they just now found something that they've been looking for days. It felt more like that they knew exactly where they were headed. And like, we found them, we got here. Took us 20 minutes. Oh my God, they did all this in 20 minutes. So there was a certain rushed thing to it that felt like everything had just happened and these two just fell right perfectly in the middle. Just feels very, you know, Hollywood, I guess you could say. But we do it a lot. I mean, I'm not going to debate it so much. So, I originally, the hilarious thing about The Last of Us and why you haven't seen too many troll fans jumping on it. I do have a video that says, I think, Joel affected. It was only a little bump. I didn't realize that people had already sort of left. There was a huge ratings decline from episode 1 to episode 2, and Joel hadn't even died. And so there was a slight ratings bump for episode 3, and then we'll see what happens for 4. But because from episode 1 to episode 2, there was such a decline, it allowed for episode 3, the bar was low, and it managed to actually rise a little bit. So more people were interested, I guess, in how they would come out of the Joel thing. And people, I guess, didn't want to see Joel die. Also, I'd love to point out that Joel's death aired on Easter, which could also attribute to the huge decline in death, as I'm sure people had other things to do. So that's HBO's planning. That's HBO's fault. They chose that. That is a making of their own. So yeah, I'm kind of digging this season. I don't mind it that much where they're going. We're exploring Dina as a character. I like that we don't know so much about Dina's past. I'm worried about her future, mainly because even though this series seems bound and determined to just recreate the video game as much as humanly possible without making any deviations, we at the same, so like I feel like every character is going to have their fate, whereas in some other adaptations we've changed things around. People have made changes to characters. PETA doesn't lose a limb in the Hunger Games movies like he does in the books. So like choices that we made throughout all of adaptations, really. And Last of Us seems pretty close to pulling it in. And the little changes that they do make are just sort of additions. They're just expanding. They're not really like, well, we did that in the video game, and we actually would rather do something else. I don't think switching Dina and Tommy in episode 2 was necessarily like the world's most wild decision. So, and had, distinct ramifications for the remainder of the series. So, yeah, we're here. So I'm going to give The critics are cratering on The Last of Us, which I think is kind of unfair. I actually liked episode 3 because it was exactly what you would need for 2. If you have a problem with 3, then you have to have a problem with 2, which is fine. You can have a problem with 2. But the problem doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, the problem isn't with 3. 3 is a solid reaction to 2, and I think 4 is we're just moving the progression of the story to 3. The question is this a story that you still want to follow? So I think that's what you just have to ask. The quality isn't actually changing. The quality is the same since this season started. It has changed for the season because they're doing something different in that one of the problems I addressed with season 1 is that I felt like was going to hurt season 2 was the distinct lack of development of a supporting cast. Characters barely survived through 2 episodes that were not Joel or Ellie. So we didn't really have a whole lot of people that we knew a whole lot about to rely on with Joel gone. So the show was a little bit slow getting going because, well, we need to know a little bit about people in Jackson, a little bit more about maybe Tommy and Dina and a couple other people. So it is the same problem that people had with season 2 of House of the Dragon. They felt like it was slow, but I don't get the knee-jerk reaction, especially from critics, where enhanced character development and us spending more time getting to actually know people in a vast ensemble. I don't know why that's a bad thing. I don't know why do we live such in a TikTok world where our attention span is so bad that we just don't want to know anything about any character. We just want them to be nameless faces that die in zombie movies. So I like the fact that I know more about the people. I'm more invested in them. I like the fact that I'm slowly learning a little bit about Isaac. I think we should know more about Abby. Things like that. I want to be invested in these characters. That's the part of long form storytelling in TV shows. That's why you do a TV show and not a movie. In a movie, you can sacrifice character development because your runtime is 2 hours. So you're condensing, a 35 to 40 hours of play of a video game into a 2-hour movie. But when you have a TV series, you're condensing it into episodes that are hour long and can run for however many seasons you feel like running the video game for. They could have done 2 seasons for the first game and 2 seasons for the second game. They had enough content. So I don't think character development is a bad thing, and I push back against the critics who do. I do, however, still don't like timing things, but I love the action sequences and some other things. And there's some funny lines and some great lines here. I love that we're getting Jeffrey Wright. It's going to be an excellent addition to the cast. So acting is on par. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna give Last of Us season 2 episode 4 an A-. That subway scene is killer. That's a great scene. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys next week and on the other side.